Chelsea, why don't you just simply sod off? Hi everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review. My name's Paul. This is your Newcastle United news. We will start with João Pedro because, as you know, Fabrizio Romano and a few other journalists said a few days ago that Newcastle United had approached Brighton formally for the signing of João Pedro. They were trying to get him through the door to James's Park. That was well known. It is now also well known that Chelsea have entered the race to sign him and have identified him as one of their main summer targets. Now, we know time and time again that Newcastle United get linked to these players and then all of a sudden, there come Chelsea. It's so many times that I do these news shows and I read news reports and articles, and wherever we're interested in a player, it seems to be the case that there is Chelsea just in every single report, and it does my head in, to be honest. But listen, Chelsea, they're allowed to go for whatever players they want, but sometimes I just wish they'd sod off. Now, according to various media outlets, Newcastle United don't value João Pedro at what Brighton do. However, Chelsea are willing to pay between reportedly 60 to 70 million pounds for João Pedro. Now, I know what everybody's going to say is the fact that, let's just move on. If we can't match the Brighton price or Brighton are asking too much for him, let's just move on. But we're starting to run out, guys. Time is ticking. Now, again, I must reiterate that I ain't panicking here. All I'm suggesting is that Newcastle United are missing out on players that they're clearly targeting. Now, granted, this may be a smokescreen. We know what Newcastle United have done in the past when they've brought players in. There's very much been a smokescreen, and players have come through the door who weren't even picked up by the in-the-knows or weren't picked up by journalists. That can still happen, absolutely. But when you look at the standard of players that our rivals are signing now, it is becoming a little bit of a worry that we're getting a little bit left behind. João Pedro, for me, would have been an excellent signing, or will be an excellent signing, if we fight for him. But at the moment, with what's going on behind the scenes at Newcastle, are we prepared? Do we have the right people in place to go and chase a João Pedro and try and get his representatives to come back to Newcastle? But it's not all about that. It's about transfer fees. And we know that in the past, Newcastle United have been very, I don't know whether stingy is the word, but they won't go above what they value a player. Now, that can be right in certain circumstances, don't get me wrong. But in others, sometimes I guess we've just got to go and pay the money and get the players in the door that are going to make a difference to this squad. This squad is very threadbare at the moment. There's links with more players leaving the club, more than what are coming through the door. And we know that we need players in. Listen, this PSR deadline could just be the be-all and end-all of our transfer window. We could be waiting to pounce on players that we know that are going to be sold because other teams need to be within the restrictions and they need to get their books in order. You talk about Jacob Ramsey, he's one of them at Aston Villa. There could be others that Newcastle United get a little bit of an inkling that this could be a signing for Newcastle. There could be players on the block at certain clubs that we don't know about as fans. But when we keep seeing reports of, interest and formally approaching clubs for different players, and then all of a sudden, they go elsewhere and other clubs come in and swoop, it's a little bit frustrating, guys, I have to say. But again, I think we will bring players in, but it's just these players now that were sort of the main core that we looked at a few weeks ago and said that there was 4 or 5 players, I think, who were particularly on Newcastle United's list to bring in. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore. We seem to be just pedaling a little bit backwards than we are going forwards right now. And our rivals are all signing players of massive quality that are going to make a big difference to their performances in the Premier League next season. And then you look at the fixture list, that came out earlier this morning. We did a live show for the release of that. And you kind of look and you think Villa away, first game of the season, a lunchtime kickoff. Then we play Liverpool, who have really strengthened. and that there's more talk about Isak, etc. But we'll come on to that a bit later on, and Anthony Gordon. But João Pedro was certainly one of the players I think Newcastle United, again, judging by reports, this is one player that we really wanted, but it was trying to work out evaluation with Brighton. Chelsea swoop in and say, right, if Newcastle won't pay it, we will. We will give you this much money. So it's looking very possible that we're going to lose out on João Pedro. Now, I do know quite a few of you, when we've been on live shows, have put in the chat regarding Xavi Simons. Today, the German media have linked him with Newcastle United, but also a lot of other teams. Now, Xavi Simons, 22-year-old, can play down both flanks, currently at RB Leipzig, and is a brilliant, brilliant footballer. There's no doubt about that. This guy, for me, would light up the Premier League. But I'd rather him light up the Premier League in a black and white shirt if he is available and Newcastle United want him. Now, the German media reports are linking also Spurs, Man United, Arsenal as well from the Premier League. The likes of Barcelona are also mentioned. So this is a player who is seriously wanted here and seriously can do a job for a lot of teams. So he's not just wanted by Newcastle. We face a fight if we're going to go for Xavi Simons. Now, again, the options are there. We've got, Alanga's gone quiet the last few days, hasn't it? So there's nothing much being said about Alanga. But I do know that a lot of you out there are big fans of Xavi Simons and think that he could come in and do a really good job for Newcastle. And I do as well, I have to say. We're starting to look at sort of wingers now to come in and do a really good job and take us to that elite level. Xavi Simons, again, fits the profile. He's 22-year-old. He's a really, really good player. And somebody that I think Eddie Howe would love to work with. But Leipzig are wanting apparently a valuation of around 60 million quid. Now that, again, is a lot of money. But he is a Dutch international. He has experience. But Leipzig, 2 years left on his contract. I'm led to believe, from what I'm reading, that Leipzig may come down on that price with a bit of negotiation. But again, it's standing still. We can't, if we are going to go for players like Xavi Simons, then don't stand still. Go and negotiate with Leipzig before all these other clubs get a chance to come in. Let's see if the interest is there with Xavi Simons to come to Newcastle United. But I must stress, this is all from German media. There's no English media reporting this. But obviously, German media are close to the club at Leipzig and do understand that Simmons could be available. So go and get him. Go and get him. I mean, that would be a statement signing for me, without a shadow of a doubt. I think for a lot of you guys as well, it would be a statement signing for Newcastle if we were to get Xavi Simons. But let me know. Is he a player that you would go for more than Alanga? Because if Alanga's being valued at 40, 50, 60, whatever it is, I'd rather have Xavi Simons any day of the week than Alanga. But let me know what you think. Now, this Liverpool thing. I mean, the Liverpool fans are starting to turn into Arsenal fans, if you ask me, with what's been written on social media. It is ridiculous, the entitlement. And I never really thought Liverpool fans would become like that. And, we've got a few Liverpool fans who subscribe to this channel and are great guys. Great guys. But some of them online are talking absolute out of their arse. Now, again, the Alexander Isak conversation still rumbles on. Still continues to rumble on. Newcastle United made it plain and clear that Alexander Isak is going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. We have no intention to sell him. The chairman said that himself. So unless somebody comes in with a really bizarre offer, Newcastle United aren't going to listen. And they don't have to listen. He's under contract. And I think Newcastle United, to be fair, are doing more now to try and get him tied up to a new contract than they are looking at any bids coming in for him. And then you get the ridiculous stories coming out that he's a Liverpool fan and he wants to go and play for Liverpool. I mean, Christ almighty, they've already said this about Anthony Gordon. I mean, we know he's a Liverpool fan. But Isak's been following Liverpool all his life and he wants to go and play. Bull rot, man. Stop making stories up just to try and get the ball rolling. It's not going to happen. I'm 100% confident that we hold on to Alexander Isak. I will be devastated and really pissed if Newcastle United sold Alexander Isak. Anthony Gordon, on the other hand, listen, whatever will be with Anthony Gordon. If we get an £80 million offer from Liverpool, I've said it in the past, let's sell him. We can do with the money. We can spend it elsewhere. And if Anthony Gordon wants to go, then so be it. But the player we're linked with now from Liverpool is Diogo Jota. And quite honestly, no. I mean, yes, he knows where the net is. He's a good finisher, etc. But he's past his prime, in my opinion. And judging by a lot of people's comments on our live show last night, they feel the same way about Diogo Jota. That no, just no, he's done. And we don't need another one of those players in the door. Certainly when you look at the striker situation, Asula's banging in the goals for the under-21s. I know it's under-21s, but it's international level, let's be fair. So he's scoring at a good level. I know the Premier League's a lot different, but that gives you hope that this guy can maybe come on and play next season and do really well for Newcastle. But when we're looking for another striker to replace possibly Callum Wilson, I don't think we need an older player like Jota. I think our attentions certainly need to be elsewhere. But the bullshit that's written on social media coming from the Liverpool side of things at the minute, it's absolutely ridiculous. Really is. They just need to sort of grow up and realise that, don't be like Arsenal or Man United fans, guys. It's not. That's not how you support. That's not how Liverpool really have conducted themselves from a fan base in the past. So don't go down that route. Now, finally, the Premier League have announced that every game that is not a 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff will be broadcast live on TV. I mean, you know what? This has pretty much been the case for years. But every game that isn't a Saturday at 3 p.m. is now going to be live. So if there's 2 games on Sunday or 4 games on Sunday because of Europe and things like that, all those games will be on TV. That's what the Premier League have announced today. So there will be more games on TV next season. This 3 p.m. blackout continues for people who live in the UK, which I find astonishing. I really do. The money that's in football these days, and the money they could make from playing games and putting them on TV at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, it astounds me. But, everybody knows the ways around it and things like that. Nobody's stupid in this world, So it's an incredible announcement because it'll just get backlash again. They announce about all these games on TV, but they won't put the 3 p.m. games on, and we don't get the same Premier League coverage that overseas do. The overseas fans get more Premier League coverage live than what we do, and we actually live in the UK. It's mental. It'll never make sense to me. Absolutely never makes sense to me. But there you go, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all the stories today. Chelsea, it looks like Pedro will go there. Xavi Simons, are you interested in him? And, of course, let's just tell Liverpool to sort off in the comments as well, guys. Trying to get Isak. It's just not going to happen. If you have enjoyed the video, please, as usual, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new and like what you see, please do subscribe. Free to do so, but make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show on the channel. You can become a member of the Toon Review as well by hitting that join button. We've got some great giveaways for the members coming up in the next few days. And, of course, check the website out, thetoonreview.com, for all your Toon Review merchandise. But thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll catch you very soon. Take care.